The wildfire alert hit dispatch at exactly 3:42 p.m. Within 90 seconds, Battalion Chief Sarah Bennett had trucks rolling, sirens blaring, crews strapped in, and hoses prepped. In Pine Valley Ridge, wildfires weren't rare, they were dreaded. This was high-risk terrain, narrow streets, wooden decks, bone-dry grass, and winds howling like they had a vendetta. Engine 3, a crew of 4, led the charge down Cedar Grove Lane, the fastest access point to the fire line reported behind a row of homes. But as they rounded the bend, they hit a roadblock no training manual could have prepared them for. A black SUV was parked sideways across the street, flanked by a white HOA golf cart decked out with cheap amber strobes and a makeshift traffic cone setup. No space to squeeze through, no room to maneuver. Every second they were stalled, the flames crept closer to backyards. Two men stepped out of the cart like they were manning a checkpoint, wearing matching polo shirts embroidered with Community Standards Team, fake-looking utility belts, radios that didn't connect to dispatch, and baseball caps trying too hard to look official. The taller one, bald with mirrored sunglasses, held a clipboard and raised a hand like he was directing traffic at a school crossing. "Hold it," he barked. "This vehicle is non-compliant with HOA emergency access guidelines. You need clearance to proceed." There was a stunned silence in the cab. Engineer Mia Chen blinked. "Is this guy serious?" Captain Noah Carter leaned out the window, scanning for any badge, any insignia, anything that said these men had authority. There was nothing. Sarah stepped onto the pavement, her turnout boots heavy on the asphalt. "We're responding to an active wildfire behind Maple Crest Lane. Get these vehicles out of the way." The shorter man, mid-50s, stocky, arms crossed, shook his head. "We've had too many unauthorized vehicles tearing through here. We're under orders from the HOA board. No exceptions." Sarah stared, unblinking. "You're blocking a fire engine in an active fire zone. Then maybe next time, follow the access protocol," the bald one said, tapping his clipboard like it carried weight. Behind the blockade, thick gray smoke curled upward between rooftops. Somewhere beyond those houses, a blaze was breathing, and every delay gave it more room to grow. Sarah's radio crackled, structure ignition visible from Hilltop Drive. "ETA." She didn't answer yet. She was standing in the middle of a public street, delayed by two men playing pretend while real danger closed in. These weren't officials. They weren't trained. And they weren't moving. The scene was unraveling fast. As Engine 3 radioed in the obstruction and requested immediate assistance, the neighborhood stirred in panic. Doors flung open, residents spilled into the street, some barefoot, some clutching phones, others desperate to understand why help hadn't arrived. A woman near the corner screamed through tears, "My cat's still in the house. Why aren't you moving?" Across the road, an elderly man waved frantically. "My son's inside with my wife's on oxygen. We need help." But the two men blocking the street didn't flinch. Tom, the taller one with mirrored sunglasses, stood with his feet planted like he was guarding a fortress. Jerry, the stocky one with a poachy vest and a laminated ID badge swinging from his neck, pointed at the fire engine like it was a trespassing delivery truck. "Show me your deployment permit," Jerry demanded, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You're not authorized to use this street for emergency access without HOA approval. It's a closed access road per the board." Captain Carter stared in disbelief. "You think flames care about bylaws?" Tom didn't blink. "We're just doing our duty. If we let you through without paperwork, we lose control." Control. That word stuck in Sarah's mind like a thorn. This wasn't about safety, it never had been. It was about power, about two men craving authority so badly they'd risk lives to feel it. Sarah had heard of Tom and Jerry before. Residents had warned her and the precinct liaison dozens of complaints about them waving fake badges, filming kids walking home, harassing delivery drivers, even trying to redirect ambulances over noise violations. The HOA board had called them overzealous but well-meaning. Now they were standing between a fire engine and an active blaze, and the fire was growing. Through the smoke haze, a voice called out behind the truck. "Victims." James Harper, a retired Navy veteran, 65, steady as a rock, approached with a handheld ham radio slung over his shoulder. He held a phone in one hand, having just snapped a picture of Jerry's badge and cart. "These guys are at it again," James said calmly, handing her his phone. I picked up your fire dispatch on Channel 7. They're stalling your response. I'm going countywide with this scanner net. Sarah nodded. Do it. James didn't hesitate. He clicked the mic, flipped a switch, and keyed up. Jerry must have heard the static. He turned sharply, eyes narrowing at James, then stepped forward, pulling a canister of what looked like pepper spray from his hip. Back off the truck, he snapped, raising the can like it meant something. That was it. No more talking, no more warnings. Sarah stepped forward, radio in hand, her voice dropping to steel. This wasn't confusion anymore, this was obstruction, and the danger wasn't just the fire but the people pretending they had the right to decide who lived and who got help. She stormed past her crew, department badge in one hand, radio in the other. Her boots hit the pavement with force, each step fueled by fury not just at the delay, but at the deliberate endangerment of lives. She planted herself 3 feet from Tom and Jerry. Move that cart, or I'll have you charged with obstruction of emergency services and impersonating a public official. Her tone wasn't loud, it didn't need to be. It cut through the chaos like a siren in the night. Tom stood tall, jaw tight, arms crossed, like his polyester polo made him untouchable. You don't control this street, he said, almost smug. The HOA does. We have authority here. But then came the sound that changed everything. More sirens, 1, 2, 3, then more. A white SUV with the county seal peeled around the corner, lights flashing red and white. Right behind it, a sheriff's cruiser screeched to a stop, tires squealing on the asphalt. The deputy fire marshal stepped out, tall, gray-stubbled, in an official turnout jacket with county emblems over the heart. He scanned the scene. Fire engine stalled, smoke rising, residents in chaos, and 2 men pretending to hold command. Jerry, suddenly flustered, fumbled into his vest pocket and whipped out a laminated badge, holding it up like a shield. We're part of the compliance division, he said quickly. Emergency bylaw patrol. We had standing orders. The sheriff's deputy stepped forward, glanced at the plastic, then silently took Jerry's wrist and turned him around. Click of cuffs went on without ceremony. You're not law enforcement, the deputy said calmly. And you don't block rescue operations. Period. Jerry tried to protest, but the words fizzled out. The deputy guided him to the cruiser without a glance. The fire marshal turned to Tom, his voice calm but laced with steel. What you're doing here is criminal obstruction during an active red flag event. That's not a policy violation, it's a felony. Tom, for the first time, looked uncertain. His lips twitched. This neighborhood has the right to regulate its own safety. We're sovereign. Stop. The marshal cut him off, voice flat. You're not sovereign. You're not trained. And you're not walking away from this without consequences. He stepped forward, his shadow falling over Tom like a curtain on a bad show. You ever block my trucks again, you won't just lose your fake badge. You'll lose your freedom. Tom didn't respond. He didn't need to. For the first time all day, he knew who was in charge and it wasn't him. The fire was stopped just in time. When crews finally pushed through, the flames had chewed up 3 backyard fences and scorched a swing set into twisted metal. But thanks to swift deployment, skilled containment, and a lucky wind shift, no homes were lost, no lives taken. Something else burned away that day, though the illusion that Tom and Jerry's antics were harmless. Within 48 hours, both men were charged with impersonating a public official, obstructing emergency response, and criminal negligence during a state-designated fire alert. Their mug shots, still in matching polo shirts with stunned expressions, ran side by side on the evening news. Then came the body cam footage, released unedited by the sheriff's department, raw audio and video of Tom and Jerry lecturing firefighters as smoke curled behind rooftops. It spread like wildfire online. The public response was swift. Residents who'd quietly tolerated HOA overreach found their voices. Others came forward with videos, emails, and reports proving Tom and Jerry had been patrolling for months with the board's blessing. The HOA board claimed the men acted independently, but a local journalist uncovered a paper trail. Emails from the board president approving the golf cart lease, invoices for custom vests, and a memo by Jerry outlining escalation protocols on HOA letterhead. Within a week, the city revoked the HOA's enforcement authority pending a full investigation. All local security actions now required county preclearance. At the next city council meeting, Chief Sarah Bennett received a standing ovation for her restraint, leadership, and refusal to let chaos win. James Harper, the steady-handed veteran who'd broadcast the truth when others froze, was offered a surprising role: District Emergency Communications Consultant. He now advises on backup radio infrastructure for every station in the fire zone. As for Tom and Jerry, they didn't just lose their fake badges, they lost the illusion of control they'd clung to. Their authority was never real, but the damage they nearly caused was. In the end, they learned a lesson that should never have needed teaching. You don't block fire trucks, not for power, not for pride, not for anything.